Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Shortcuts second event of the series with Business Finland. We have started to talk about Talent Explorer funding already before this year, but this is a first event in 2022. And last time we covered a little bit of basics about the funding, but this time we invited two companies that are going to talk about their experience with the funding firsthand. While everyone is still finding us, I will a little bit talk about the shortcut and about the topic of today. So if you are finding us for the first time, we are owned by the Startup Foundation, and we are an organization that is an impact-driven, and we are dedicated to career transformation. We help people create their career in Finland and also start their own business. So we have started this series with Business Finland. Business Finland is the government organization for innovative funding and trade. And they provide different types of funding that can help. And Talent Explorer is one of them. And we are looking at it in this series. And what is Talent Explorer funding? It is a grant that helps companies hire experts to help their businesses internationalize. Today we have invited two speakers from two companies that have already benefited from the Talent Explorer funding. And I am happy to present Juuso Enjala, the CEO of Solenovo. Welcome, Juuso.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you, Ekaterina.
Good to have you. And also Markus Vihottula, Deputy CEO and Board Member of Risutech.
Yes, hello also from my side, and thanks for having us here.
Thank you very much for joining today. So I suggest we start with a little bit with your background and presentations about your companies, and then we dive into the questions about Talent Explorer funding. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yes. Meanwhile, I would love to hear from the audience. Where are they from, how they find us, and what they expect from today's event. And also, hopefully, down the line, some questions to our speakers. And I think we can ask Juuso to start.
Thank you. Yeah, I will share my screen here. Just a minute. Or is it already?
Let's see.
Shared.
No, not yet.
Okay, let me start again. There you go.
Yes.
Now?
Yeah,
all right.
Now we can see the slides.
Now everything is set. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Juuso Enjala, and I'm coming from Solenovo Ltd. And I want to thank Ekaterina and Shortcut and also Business Finland to have this invitation to talk about Talent Explorer. And we were applying that 2019, and it was really a successful fund and a grant for us. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about it. But first, before we are jumping on that matter, I'm going to tell a few words about Solenovo Ltd. So we are a software company founded in '96. So we celebrated 25 years history last year. And we have a headquarter in Joensuu, Eastern Finland. Also offices in Helsinki, Kuopio, and Tampere. And now, as we speak, we have more than 40 people working for us on those locations, and locations are not that important anymore. So people can work wherever they are and want to be. But mainly our customers are universities, University of Applied Sciences, and vocational schools, and some governmental agencies and municipal agencies as well. A few things about me. I joined like 3 years ago, and my main goal for the company was to go abroad and have a like international business for Solenovo. And I was used to do that in Canon, and um, uh, uh, like previously I'm an engineer, but I'm now on a trip to becoming a human being, which is like a really long trip to take and voyage. But I'm on this kind of an adventure myself. About the company again, what we are doing, our vision is to push people forward to their life and to the next level, and our vision is to be aligning lifelong paths to excellence. These days, studying and learning and jumping to the new levels and new jobs as well, and job opportunities, it's a lifelong journey. And demand for higher education is phenomenal these days. If we go back to 1960, there was only 13 million university students in the world. And that age, when you were going to the high school, it was already like a big thing. And when you went to the university, it was even bigger. But now, as we speak, 2015, there was already a 200 million university students. And after some years, let's say 8 years, the study says what have done in 2016 in France, that we will have over 400 million university students. So if we are looking for the money the world are spending for education, it's a second biggest amount of money after the food industry. So this is a big thing and going to be even bigger. So that's the way we are dealing with our company. Mainly we are helping in the software side, to helping people to relocate, and we are using heavily Erasmus exchange things, having a software for those, and management software for time allocation, and let's say public services for PhD students and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things we are offering and helping universities and schools and also other organizations to grow themselves. But when we started 2019, we didn't have many international connections or customers, and we were looking for help for that, and we decided to recruit new people here. And we had another funds already from Ely-keskus and another, let's say, organizations. But then we find out that there is this thing called Talent Explorer, Business Finland, and we decided to apply. And before we applied, we were checking that this nominee was okay for Business Finland, and then we were shooting the application, and it was a green light for us, and then we hired that person to work for us, and it was totally success. 2019 we were making the market research, and this fund is mainly for making everything known and seeing what's going to happen in that market, and not necessarily pushing deals forward or something like that, but that happens naturally afterwards, after this Talent Explorer. So what we faced, we saw that we find out like 430% growth rate in international sales. We were gathering international revenue almost 10%, and now it's higher. But in that year, and already like 30% of our customers were international, and this fund was helping us like big time, and also giving us an opportunity to have like a cross-selling business to our different solutions what we have. But now we have market open afterwards. After this Talent Explorer, we have market open in France, Germany, Estonia, Romania, and Sweden. And then we have a lot of customers here in Finland. And we find out during the Talent Explorer that there is already like 75 countries which are using our software when they're coming to study here in the Finnish universities. So we find out like there's a lot of bridges and opportunities to jump directly to those countries. And these are the first 5 markets what we have open and eagerly looking for more. So that was mainly our case study about Talent Explorer. If you're interested, if you're an employer, definitely you can contact us. And if you're an employee or wanting to be an employee of Solenovo, I want to let you know that we are going to have an opening soon for international business. And what we are looking for is mainly for like really great communicational skills and attitude, all the necessary other skills we can teach you to learn to be better in many ways. And for the excellence seekers is our company's strategy. So that's something we want to be like internally and externally. We want to grow every day as employees and as human beings. And also we want to push that forwards to our customers, that they will grow and take the next step and be more excellent for their work. So thank you, Ekaterina. That was my slides and my show now. And I'm gonna give the microphone next to Markus Vihottula, and eagerly want to hear as well.
Yeah, thank
for
you.
your stories. Thank you.
Sure. Do I continue, or do you have anything to add there, Ekaterina?
No, I also would like to hear from Markus first, and then we're going to get to the questions.
So let me share as well. Just a second. A bit more.
I can see the slide.
Now it's visible. Yeah. Bit more brief one slider, but just to give everyone an idea. What do we do? So we see that we are one of the good guys among the large amount of companies, and we want to turn the world greener. So we are planting trees basically, and we are providing various kinds of equipment to do so. So we are an equipment and systems manufacturer, engineer, and sales people who are based in Western Finland, in Nakkila, which is nearby Pori, in case people are familiar with that. However, we do function more or less globally. So most of our revenues come from abroad and also outside of Europe. So let's say Brazil, Southern Africa, Indonesia, Australia, and so forth. So we work very worldwide. And why do we do what we do? So we want to make this traditionally conservative industry of sort of forestry more modernized, more digital, more mechanized. Also, there are a lot of these old-fashioned, inefficient ways of working, often quite hard labor, sometimes dangerous and quite slow. So we want to kind of bundle that all up and bring modern solutions, make it faster, make it more cost efficient, plant where it wouldn't be possible to plant manually, and then very importantly, make everything digital basically. So we turn that there are no more forests somewhere, but there is a large number of individual trees with their own unique IDs timestamps and so forth. So we kind of create a digital twin of the forest. And then of the company. So basically, as mentioned, that we work more or less worldwide. We have a very large array of languages and people from different backgrounds. So we see that as a benefit, basically, to have a larger or more diverse kind of a background among people. Whether it's technical or commercial and so forth. So it always helps when you have people who know the market or know some other market than Western Finland. Let's say that way. So it's always that way, and that with the Talent Explorer was also one of these key topics. So that we wanted. Well, anyways, we're growing mainly internationally, and then the Talent Explorer was an excellent tool, basically, to help with that as well. And maybe to kind of wrap it up, we can go more also later to the funding and so forth. But the same way, kind of if there is something that does interest you, let me know. We can always see if there are opportunities for whatever background you might have, and then we can talk more. And of course, if it's something that you believe that there should be more trees, then it's always a good thing to do. So yeah, thank you. That's a brief introduction from our side.
Thank you very much for sharing, Markus and Juuso. I think it's very interesting that the companies are doing very different kind of business, like SaaS and education, and then tree planting. So very, very different kind of businesses fall into this funding pool. So I think that it will be interesting to hear about your experience with applying, because many companies, I think that it might be difficult to apply, or also the thing with Talent Explorer funding is that you have to first apply and then hire an expert. So that is very interesting also to hear. But to put my question short to both of you, how was your experience specifically with applying to the funding? Was it simple? Did you have any challenges? Please openly share, because this will help to those listening to us. Who would like to start? Go ahead, Juuso.
I can start. Yeah, the first application was really easy for us. I don't know. I think I made in the correct way, in it was an accident that we were doing it right first time, and second time I was building it. First of all, the application in the service of Business Finland, it's really easy to use and it's lightweight. So if you refer to any other application you're making for any other business stream or center, like ely-keskus or TE center, it's much more lightweight than the others, and so it's really fast to fill and to send as well. But I learned in a hard way afterwards, when we were doing the second Talent Explorer funding, that I was making a mistake of hiring first and applying second. So that's not working. So that's really great advice for you others that don't do that. So first needs to make an application for Talent Explorer. And I kindly also recommend to contact any person in Business Finland as well, to check first that everything is okay with the application. It doesn't take a lot of time, just to send one email that, listen, I sent you the application, could you check that everything is okay? So they can call you back and tell what's wrong. or what is okay with it. And then you can, when you have a green light, then you can hire the person. And but after all, I need to say that it was really easy when reading all the little details as well the second time. And one last thing is that I want everybody to know that it's okay to have the Talent Explorer fund 3 times for one organization. So for our organization, there's already like 2 more to come, and I'm waiting for applying those as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I can continue from the so I would say that our experience is very similar to Juuso's basically. That it was quite simple, lightweight. So we have applied only for this one for about a year ago, but for sure we'll go for the other two as well whenever there is a suitable sort of a person and opening. So we have had few other Business Finland funding tools and Ely back in the day. So in a way, we're familiar with the process, and I would say that of all of those, most likely this is, if not the easiest, but at least on the easier side of these. So that it's like couple of hours of work to more or less to get it done. Same way, I do kind of recommend basically that in our case that we already knew the suitable person, kind of ran into him, that okay, he's something with a very good fitting background, and then we kind of agreed with him that okay, we would like to hire you, but let's apply for this first because it will fit very well into his background, and then just did the application, and actually has the same way sort of sent this to the like our own Business Finland contact person and asked that okay, is this okay, or is there something that you think that should be changed or added, and then we just got the feedback that no, this is kind of just good as it is, and then we just sent it, and then it was it was quite quick process also, maybe week and a half or something like that we got the positive result, and then welcomed the new person into the company, and who is also still with us. So it went well. I mean, I no complaints whatsoever in any of that. But yes, true. So remember to file first, hire second.
Yes. Also, in connection to this, it's very interesting to learn more about like how was your hiring process. So let's say if you don't know still, if you get the application or no, do you start it at the same time? Do you start it before? Markus has shared a little bit, but like how to align these two processes of hiring an expert and of applying. Any tips about that?
Yeah, I can maybe start here, and Markus can continue from there. We were shooting like an open application first, and also using some headhunter company to find out like people. And one thing I've seen now for Business Finland, it's really important also that if you want to seek some market area, let's say it's France, so they want to see that this person who are going to be into that process needs to have at least some experience or skills for speaking that language or knowledge of that culture. So that's better to have if you want to have like an agreed fund from Business Finland. So I learned that, and we were using like I said, open applications and also headhunters. And when we find out the right person, then we were shooting the first time we were shooting the application and then hired the person.
I can continue. So our hiring process, we did, in this case we didn't have an open application, but basically we have had a number of hires sort of we have let's say encountered through various ways. So kind of often there is like someone knows someone, or we get a contact from someone that, hey, do you have, I know this and that, and would you have something suitable? And even if we didn't have at that moment, then we would kind of remember the person and be later in touch. So in this case, it was kind of like a similar, we weren't openly looking for anything like that, but then through our kind of a contact network, there was like, okay, this person looks like someone that we would like to have with us, that there is a suitable gap in our sort of a business for this position, and then it sort of went that way, and we have had sort of few other people the same way as well. So kind of a additional pointer to any job seekers in general, it's good to be active and be in touch. So very many jobs that might be out there actually are not openly published anywhere, but if there is a, like we always said, okay, if you are a great person, then there is always a job for you. So that has been a bit of our kind of a mentality, and I know from other places, so that they often might have that, or even if they would have an open job coming up, then if you contact a bit before that's published, you might get it even before it gets public. So maybe ours was in sort of a mixture of these, and then just the talent expert was there to further help with that.
Yes, thank you for sharing, and I think it's interesting to hear like more in depth how the hiring processes are going. My next question would be about the talents itself, because, for example, in our community at the Shortcut, mainly we have people who don't speak Finnish as their native language, but they do speak many other languages. I think we have in our talent pool like 132 nationalities. So what were you looking for in an expert, or will be looking when you are posting your next job, like besides language? Because language skills, of course, but what else, so that our audience, that is the job seekers part of the audience, they can a little bit think what kind of jobs can they aim for.
Yeah, maybe I can start sort of at this time. So I would say that kind of depends a lot on the position in a way, but in a way I would say that the first and foremost kind of is that you have the right mentality and willingness to learn. That's by far. So even if you are the most experienced person in your trade, but if you kind of are not a fit for the organizational culture, it probably wouldn't work. So like we have done both ways. So we have hired people who haven't really had any experience in that particular field, and then we had just taken, okay, it's now an investment to this person, and we are willing that it will take time, but then usually after time this person gets sort of a much more sort of a efficient and effective in their work. So that's one. Of course, it always helps to have some background. So it once again depends on the job. So let's say it would be an engineering, for example, and a bit more senior position. Yes, sure, maybe you should need to have some years of experience in something relevant, so that never sort of never does any damage to know stuff beforehand, but more so as long as you are willing to learn. And very often that is kind of visible, that to be aware of that. So I would say a big part of this rejected comes that, okay, there comes a person who maybe thinks that they know everything or very much about that topic, but then maybe their knowledge actually isn't so relevant. That wouldn't mind if they would say that, hey, I know very little about this, but this is my plan for the next year, that I want to learn that skill. And then we are so, sure, that kind of fine. But if you think that, yeah, I'll know all of that, then let's say some level of being humble in a way, or aware that what you need to learn is sort of a greatly valued. If it comes to the language, I wouldn't say, at least in our case, Finnish doesn't matter at all. We have several people who don't speak Finnish, and we have had. So I would say one of our most efficient persons who was working for us didn't know Finnish nor English, and really didn't have even any relevant education. But we needed some help basically for some period of time, and then this person, like, super motivated, very good at his job and so forth, even though kind of on paper there was kind of like nothing that would kind of tell you about, but he was just a magnificent person. So I wouldn't say that the language skills, even, of course it helps, but it doesn't matter. With us, it's more relevant if you know some other languages, so that you know Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Russian, Chinese, Indonesian, whatever it would be, something that most of us don't know. So then it's kind of very relevant. Okay, now at least this person then would be a lot in this customer context, whether it would be sales or any kind of like a customer support related topics. So that would be an added bonus. So I would say that if there is a person all else the same, and there's a person who knows Finnish and English versus a person who knows English and Bahasa, for example, then most likely we would go with the latter one, because it would be more beneficial for us. So yeah, that's sort of our approach to that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I think it's very interesting to hear that you have you give the person a little bit room to grow into the position. So that's always a very good sign that a person can also learn something already.
Yeah. And of course, depends on the position. So if it's more senior, yes, then you are expected to have some background in that. But yeah.
Juuso, how about you? What are you looking in the job seeking?
It sounds really common for us as well. Of course, there's a differences in when you're applying to senior position or more junior, but sometimes it happens that we are trying to find some person really senior, but we still taking the junior because maybe the communicational skills are better, or attitude is really great, and a few questions, of course, we are asking in the interviews, but more important these days than where have you been studying or what universities or schools you have in your background is that what was the latest book you were reading. And it really doesn't matter what was it like a soft book or hard like stuff and a learning book. It's just giving an idea of a person who wants to sharpen their saw and want to get better and develop. And also we want to have those persons in our team to help us to learn more about something we don't still know. Even though it's a junior, I've learned more from junior than from the seniors, because I feel the culture is also really different these days, and people are really open. Our organizational official language is English now. We want to welcome everybody to join us, and team is really diverse, and we want to have like really like diversity to our company, and looking for different cultures, because we can find like a cultural benefits we can find when we are going abroad, even though there's sometimes some hard times as well when it's too far. Let's say if you're from Far East and you're trying to get close to Western, let's say West Europe, sometimes there happens like it doesn't doesn't go like a hand for a glove. So we have started to push more effort and check more the background for like cultural strengths and experiences as well. And I can see last application from some Talent Explorer, which unfortunately was a deny, because I was doing the mistake myself. I was hiring first and then apply. So it's my bad. But they were also saying that this person may not have enough experience of that market area where you were looking for. So that's something we are heavily looking to people. Again, communication skills, attitude, and also these cultural strengths and knowledge and the these kind of things.
Thank you very much to share. And I think it always gives hope to the job seekers when they hear the employer side, because sometimes it feels like it's a very difficult and closed door process. But I think when you share openly like this, then it's easier to prepare and easier to understand what's expected of you. And one thing that we are trying to kind of push in Shortcuts mission is to encourage Finnish companies to hire international talents. So for example, we don't address relocation, but we try to get employed people who are already in Finland. And I think that talent pool is very big, arguably about 10,000 talents in Helsinki region only. So what would you say that your company gained, well, except for the obvious like market expansion, but otherwise like culturally or in some other ways, by hiring international experts in your companies?
If I can start here, like I mentioned, the Far East last time, we had a person from China, from Vietnam, we have a person from Russia, and the cultural differences are big sometimes, and it was giving like a really great boost to our other teams in the production side, in the people who are not speaking that much. They are looking for just a computer and coding and developing, and when you have it's some kind of an energy which we can't find anywhere from our own culture. If you are a company where it's only Finnish people, I can see that there's a lack of it, and I kind of love it, even though sometimes there is also like some differences where we need to discuss, let's say, how many hours you can do here in Finland. That's one problem in some cultures that you have to learn when you were a kid, that you're doing like 15-hour days, and here it's not okay because we have unions, and it's not good for anybody's health to work.
Sure.
Yeah. So this kind of things, but as an employer, we need to take care of everybody and their own values as well. But values are also really strong word here. Our company values are trust, commitment, and well-being. So well-being, seeing that if you need to be first happy, and then you can be successful. And we want to support people. And for our company, it's really sometimes hard for different cultures to teach that it's okay to go for running in the middle of a day if it helps you for work, not just to sit down and push, or not ask from anybody. So we want to strongly recommend everybody to collaborate more. We're Finnish people are really sometimes shy, but when you ask help, they will help you like no one else, you know. And these kind of differences we want to get better.
Very interesting to hear. Markus, how about you?
Yeah, kind of a fully agree on what Juuso said. So on these kind of a two main points in a way that of course you can't sort of ignore the importance of the market knowledge. Let's say even if you wouldn't be working in sales, but you might kind of help us understand that how does a person in India work, or how does a person in Brazil thinks about this and that. And okay, most likely we would put this person to also write a lot of sort of like stuff, translate for the locals, and also kind of check that, okay, is it understandable now for a normal, not necessarily very highly educated forestry person in anywhere, like Indonesia, for example. So having this knowledge makes it better, and kind of bring a lot of these practicalities, how things work somewhere else. And then kind of related to that, I also agree on that it's kind of a good to stir the gene pool a little bit, kind of like if it's just people usually who are a bit in the same bubble, that okay, you're people who are the same region, probably a similar kind of education, similar kind of family background, so forth, you tend to think the same way. And then you very easily ignore that 99.99% of the people are something else. And then it just sort of gets more difficult to function outside of that 0.01% bubble where you are at. So that brings a lot of this, that okay, that actually someone else might think about this thing in a certain other way, which is not necessarily any more right or wrong. But anyways, if we want to function with other markets also, it's us who need to change, and us who need to serve the local market, not to force an Indonesian to work in a Finnish way. So this kind of helps, and not even in this necessarily direct, but at least it will kind of bring it more visual, apparent for us that okay, there are other ways to work as well, which we need to be aware, or at least not to ignore. So both of these, and also that I kind of agree that it does help that with the foreigner background, that you have someone who has been in Finland at least for some time, because it might be that if you right away come from very different kind of environment, it might be difficult. Okay, the ways of working are different. The power structure is sort of different. It's okay to come and talk to the highest boss, which might be really not the case in many places, for example, or the amount of work, or that generally the employers also want good things for the employees, and so on. That so if it would be completely, it might be difficult, and there have been some cases with that as well. So it's good that not that you have forgotten your own background, but also you have got a bit of experience that how things are in Finland. Okay, could be that the Finnish winter might be difficult for someone to cope. So all of these have a sort of a great significance on the person, both person's well-being, and also then how well they do at the job. Yeah,
very interesting insights. And myself, as an international person working in Finland, I also I think it takes time to adjust to Finnish working culture, but at the same time, once you get it, it's a very how to say, it's a very kind to employer culture. So it allows you to work at a good pace, and it's a very fair environment also. So I think that this is very something that our community, if hasn't been able to learn yet, I hope that they can learn it. One other thing that is typical for the shortcut, I'm speaking again on behalf of the job seekers part of the audience, is many internationals come to Finland as students to universities and then kind of struggle sometimes to find a job, and some of them pursue academic career more. So some of them already are like with master's or PhD level of education, so very solid research background. And if we're talking about Talent Explorer funding, it's also aimed at market research positions. So do you think it could be a good fit for those of our listeners who are with academic background? Do you think this kind of funding and these positions that fit to this funding, is this a kind of a very good fit?
I think it's the perfect fit, at least for our companies. It's the place where you're still open for new information and can learn like really fast paced after the school, and maybe before you're having the degree, or in the middle joining and be like an intern, and then start to learn more, and then grow in the business. But we might have, or we have, a structural problem here in Finland what comes to the, let's say, public sector. When we're trying to find a new business as a company, they usually ask CVs, that you need to give us this and this much CVs, a senior CV, and we need to find out those CVs to win those cases and win more business to us. And I think they're starting to acknowledge what it will do for the students, and especially for international students who comes here, because it's still the business out. It gives for the companies who have like more senior and more maybe Finnish-based experts, and they we have a lot of public business here in this country, and we need to change those rules like up there, and then start to have more, because I want to have as many as we can international students who are just graduating or in the middle of their studies, to grow them, and one day we can use those CVs as well for those public tenders. But now it's like this, that they are not supporting necessarily juniors that much. So we need to have more power. What do you think about Markus about that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's say I hadn't thought about that, and actually, luckily, we don't have that issue. Sort of like that, no third party requires any knowledge of our employees. So we do occasionally work with the public sector, but in a different sort of a way, not usually developing some, like in your case, software or something like that, that to the public sector. So I would say of the education, it's more maybe what it represents than the education itself. So let's say that if you have studied to become a hydraulics engineer, for example, then if you're a student, we're still aware that, okay, mostly, and no necessarily professional background, we still know that, okay, you are in very first stages at your career, so you don't necessarily know in practice what it actually would be, what the work actually would mean, but that you have studied it for a number of years, that tells that most likely that is something you are interested in, and when that's the case, most likely you are willing to learn and become even more proficient in that trade. So So we don't necessarily kind of look at your degree per se, that whether you have graduated with your or you have your postdoc or you are still doing your bachelor's studies, but that's kind of shows your interest and willingness to learn more. So we have also several people who we have kind of hired while they have been studying, and many of them, maybe unfortunately for them, haven't then graduated because they have just kind of kept on working with us. But let's say, yeah, they kind of like, I would say this a bit of the same topic that Juuso was mentioning there, that the combination of the public sector and the industrial need, but from a slightly different angle, that how well does the school teach you what the industry then needs. So you get a lot of theoretical knowledge, and let's say the higher you educate, so masters and up, more or less, it tends to go a bit academic, whereas in the industrial world, that academic is not necessarily so relevant compared to the practical. When you have someone then who actually knows how to install the hydraulic line or can actually engineer the kind of like, okay, this hose goes to that sort of a connector, that might be more relevant for you to know the philosophical history of creation of a hose, in a sort of a bit exaggerated manner, but yeah, it sort of went maybe a bit sidetracked here, but yeah, I mean, absolutely, kind of I would say that the nutshell that the school represents what you are capable of and what you want to, than the degree itself. So I would encourage that if you want to apply, it doesn't matter when necessarily what you are, if you are about to graduate or graduated, you are basically the same, at least on our eyes. But of course, some cases it might be very different, that way you need this kind of an official document.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I think even though you have a little bit different approach, I think it's very good for our audience to hear that academic background does get you a job in real business. So that is really great. So we have a question. It's addressed to you, but I think it's interesting maybe to hear from both of you. So Nagendra, I hope I'm not butchering the name. Nagendra is asking about what you shared previously. Juuso, how, in your opinion, does the change of roles begin up there?
Yeah, thanks, Nagendra, for the questions. There was a really great article a few weeks back in Helsingin Sanomat newsletter, and there was article about the small and medium business companies who were telling about this issue, and I think the change of rules begins in those big governmental corporations to fix their rules before they are shooting out the tenders, and understand better what is the consequences when they are asking something like relevant for them, but it's actually irrelevant for every small and medium company who wants to join to the tender. So I feel that we need to shout out and keep more voices to up there. And for those corporational companies, like I said, there's a lot of business to government, but there's also a business to business where you don't need to care about these things, like I believe in Markus business that much.
Yeah,
it's really, really great position to be, and but when you want to grow bigger and bigger, then you need to contact like also those cases. And the only way to change those rules is to shout out and keep our voice like strong and unite. And I believe that the unions of employers have already started to shout out. That's because it's been decades and decades the same thing has happened, and we need to change those rules.
Markus, do you have to add to this or?
Not really, because as mentioned, we don't really have, even with the public sector, we don't have that obstacle, because more or less that we have ready solutions that we kind of provide them with, instead of making it sort of tailor making it for their use or in general sort of. So it's a bit different setting.
Yeah, thank you, Nagendra, very much for the question. And maybe we have about 4 minutes till the end, so maybe I will ask a final question, and that again for job seekers mainly, that if you have the positions that are about to open, or if you could advise companies or the positions that are about to open, please share.
Maybe I can speak with the mouth of Joensuu community. There's a lot of SaaS-based software companies in our town, and many of them are having international speakers and different cultures joining them, and we want to have more. And if I'm not mistaken, there was many hundreds of people moving in a year to Joensuu city, and we have like open applications also for different countries now to find like a group of people who wants to join and also live there to find out their whole living. And it's much more cheaper cost of living. The winter is much more harder, but the summer is also much more let's say warm. So it's a different point of view. So keep that in mind if you want to join. For our company, it's doesn't matter where you're living, but in case you want to have like a better network, I think that there's a great network for small and medium businesses, and if that's something you're looking for.
And to snag those people from the Joensuu region to Satakunta region, the Pori, the winter is a bit less hard there, but many things apply. So I would kind of just recommend that be active. Surprisingly, many places actually would have room for enthusiastic, talented people, irrespective of their sort of the background. So kind of even if it might not feel that way, try to think it as a sort of a added benefit. You have something that an average Finn doesn't have, and try to leverage with that. And let's say, especially, I would say, kind of any company that does any expert business, more or less would be happy to have you. In general, just keep an open mind, be willing to learn, and kind of shout out, make people aware that you exist. Be persistent. I get a few applications every now and then. Other people, we don't always necessarily even kind of, it might get muffled in under 10 meetings we have that day, and we might forget about it, but then just reconnect and kind of do that. You need to kind of sell yourself a little, and it's not, I would say in very many cases, it's not that whether you would be wanted or not. It's just that it's not necessarily noticed, or it gets buried under a billion other things. But if you were persistent, it's still a numbers game. So be touched in many places. Eventually, it will be noticed, and then kind of taken seriously so that you would get a job. So just sort of try to keep up the good spirit and head on. And to add there, sort of like that, not all the works are necessarily in Helsinki. So if you are somewhere else, whether it's Joensuu or Pori or wherever, most likely there are a lot of these, especially these kind of a mid-size, even smaller companies who could really benefit from having you there to work. So yeah, it's not as bad as it might sometimes feel.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, but I'm going to very quickly share this one. So this one is to Markus about open application to Risutech. I can't show both comments. So if background and experience are not yet related to the industry, but I think it's very meaningful, how would you advise to write to apply for a position?
I would say that it's a lot about your willingness to learn. Like I would say, I wouldn't expect very many people to have, in our case, to have experience in tree planting in Brazil, for example. I didn't. So that's something. But then we be aware. Don't claim that you would know everything. But you can have if you don't have any background, then kind of it's good that if you have some kind of like a plan that, okay, this is how I want to learn, and some kind of like a hint that, okay, why would you be a person capable of learning? There might be like an example of that you have taken up some other position, for example, where you really didn't know anything about that, but then with your right motivation and quick wit, whatever it was, you were willing to grasp, and then you managed to get something great made at that point. So more about this kind of like examples and being aware that you might not know yet, but then also being aware that, okay, this is how you will be the best person ever in tree planting in Brazil, for example. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. We are now running out of time, so I wanted to thank everyone for listening today. I think we had both good insights, both from Juuso and from Markus, and also both for companies on how to apply and also to job seekers. So I noticed that there were many questions from the job seekers, so I kind of a little bit expanded on that part. But thank you very much, everyone. I shared the links to Talent Explorer funding. I will also now share the link to Min Lam, who is in charge of Business Explorer, of Talent Explorer funding at Business Finland. So he asked me to share his contacts in case there are questions about applying or anything, like Juuso said, like if you are not sure during the application process, do ask so that the application goes correct. But thank you very much for your time, Juuso and Markus, and for everyone being with us, and have a nice end of the week. Thank you very much. We will have one more event at the end of March on this topic, and then we will be talking about people who were employed through the Talent Explorer funding. So I will send that in follow-up email. Please attend that one also. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.